just like computers and TVs, insurance is one of the few things out there that's actually gotten cheaper, because if you think about it, as people live longer, the cost of insurance has gone down because the insurance company can hold on to your money longer. If your life expectancy was 80 and now let's say it's 85, they can hold on to your money for 5 more years, so it's actually cheaper. So as long as you're insurable, there's a lot of benefits of doing that.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Mark, in financial planning, there are some hidden gems out there. If you're like most people, you probably have some financial accounts that you haven't paid a lot of attention to recently. The statements are just collecting dust in your file cabinet, but they might actually be hidden gems that could be put to better use. Let's talk about some of the accounts that people tend to ignore for too long. Sometimes they're surprised to find them. First of all, old 401ks. I know you've had a lot of people who have discovered those and they had pretty much forgotten all about them.
Yeah, and this is part of the planning process, is really helping people get their financial house in order. And old 401ks is a good one. I'm of the belief that if you have left a job, it makes sense to roll your old 401ks, and this also applies to 403bs, TSPs, 457s, to a self-directed IRA. It does a couple things for you. One is you're in control of it. You're in control of the fees. You can control the investments. You can invest in anything that you want. You're not limited by what your old plan offers. You'd have more access to it. Typically, you're kind of restricted if you're with an old plan versus a self-directed IRA. You have more access to it, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of pros. There's hardly any cons about as far as moving out of that plan, in my opinion. But a lot of people sit on old 401ks and have things all over the place. And it's hard to get an accurate picture of what you have when you have so many different things and you're not looking at it all together or collectively.
Maybe also, here's another hidden gem. Maybe you have an old life insurance policy that you've been paying on. It's still in effect, but you pretty much haven't thought about it in years. What should you do about that?
That's a good one, too. We have replaced quite a few policies over the last couple of years for a couple different reasons. One is, as long as you're still insurable, a lot of companies have adopted the new mortality tables. And just like computers and TVs, insurance is one of the few things out there that's actually gotten cheaper, because if you think about it, as people live longer, the cost of insurance has gone down because the insurance company can hold on to your money longer. If your life expectancy was 80 and now let's say it's 85, they can hold on to your money for 5 more years, so it's actually cheaper. So as long as you're insurable, there's a lot of benefits of doing that. And so what typically can happen is you can get a policy where maybe you can get a larger death benefit for the same amount of premium that you're paying, or you can get that same premium for a lower cost, lower premiums. And then there's also some other benefits where a lot of policies now offer some long-term care benefits through a rider. And so that's another thing that we can add to these policies. In fact, we've replaced quite a few policies just to add the long-term care piece into the policy. So it's worth having somebody review your life insurance policies, whether it's your current agent or, certainly that's something that we can help you with as well.
Maybe you have a savings account you really haven't paid attention to in a very long time, and maybe a money market or a CD that you need to kind of rediscover. And those can be hidden gems as well.
Yeah, and I've worked at a couple different banks previously in my career, and I can tell you the game that they offer is they'll offer you a teaser rate on either a CD or a money market, which is only good for maybe 6 months, a year if you're lucky. And then what happens is, if you're not diligent about watching it, the rate drops significantly. And that's where they hold on to your deposits and pay you very minimal amounts. Some people are actively where they come in every 6 months and they're going with the newspaper and going across the street to each bank and getting a higher rate each time, which takes a lot of effort. But, if that's what you have time to do, great. But a lot of people are sitting on accounts that they thought were earning a certain percentage, and they don't realize that rate went away a long time ago. And they're just sitting on this cash that's earning next to nothing. So it's important that you get a handle on that and understand what you're earning on that money, so all your money's working efficiently and getting the rates of return that you're expecting that you're getting.
With so many people changing jobs all the time, there are some cases where folks have pensions and they were frozen a long time ago, and they really haven't given it any thought. But this is something that Mark Silverman can help you uncover and use in the very best possible, most efficient way.
Yeah, a lot of the pensions, if you're lucky enough to have a pension, a lot of times they did become frozen. whereas you still have that money, but they're no longer contributing to it, or you're no longer contributing to it, however it was set up. And a lot of times you could roll that money into like an IRA account. So it's a non-taxable event where you can roll it and get it invested, so it's growing. A lot of times they're just sitting there doing next to nothing. Whereas if you have this lump sum option, you're able to roll it. And so that makes sense. It's good to understand it and review those sorts of things that are just sitting around, but you really don't know until you actually look at it. And unfortunately, I know we get busy with our lives, our work and family, et cetera. And so we don't really put the time in to review all this stuff. And now's a great opportunity to maybe get your financial house in order.
I know that there are folks out there who've, had all kinds of memories stirred by this conversation here. They're thinking, oh, what in the world happened to this account or this pension or this life insurance policy? I need to get on that. And there are folks who need to call you and have that 15-minute introductory phone call to kind of get to know you a little bit and to ask you some very basic questions. What kind of things are you going to talk about?
Well, we're going to go through everything. In fact, you brought up a good point. There's been times where we go through this process with somebody, a couple, let's say, and we're going through and collecting all their documents and putting it in the financial planning software and getting all the questionnaires filled out and going through everything that they own. And maybe a month into the process, they receive a statement on something that they forgot they had, which we can obviously incorporate into their plan. So some people just seem to forget, out of sight, out of mind. So, we understand that, but this is really an opportunity to get your financial house in order, to sit down, have a conversation, see if we're a good fit. I'm not going to promise we're a good fit for everybody, but if we are, I can tell you we'll do a great job if we are, and making sure that we can get your goals aligned and understanding what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Again, everybody's situation is different, and see if we can have the right fit to move forward and get you into the place that you need to be with your financial future.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money. All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.